Chapter 12. Just Gold. The darker corners of Greyhaven were not an answer, which left one other option. If the ring was gold, then a proper jeweler would know its worth. A man of craft might appraise it without trickery. By mid-morning the next day, Tom had made up his mind. He pulled out the ring. He held it to the light before slipping it into his palm. He wanted to feel it for the last time. Just gold, he muttered. He closed his fist tightly around it and made his way into the city. The jeweller's shop stood on the brighter side of the square, near the cloth merchants and spice traders. Its window displayed delicate chains, rings with coloured stones, and silver brooches shaped like birds and leaves. Tom hesitated outside for only a heartbeat before pushing open the door. A small bell chimed. The scent of polished wood filled the air. "You know the arrangement," someone was saying sharply. Tom froze just inside the shop. Behind the counter stood the jeweller, a thin, grey-haired man with spectacles perched low on his nose. His hands were steady, though his jaw was tight. Opposite him stood Zack. The sight of the fence in the jeweller's shop struck Tom like a blow. "You've had good months," Zack was saying. "It's only fair the arrangement reflects that." "I pay what was agreed," the jeweller replied stiffly. "No more." Zack leaned in slightly. "Protection isn't cheap." Tom gripped the ring tighter. Zack was more than a fence. He was collecting from businesses. The jeweller's gaze flicked past Zack and landed on Tom. For a moment, confusion crossed the older man's face. Zack followed his line of sight. Their eyes met. Recognition flared instantly in Zack's. "Well," Zack drawled, straightening. "Look who wandered into the wrong shop." Tom froze. He hadn't expected Zack to be here. The ring felt heavy in his fist. "I didn't know you shopped for jewelry," Zack continued mockingly. "I don't," Tom replied, forcing steadiness into his voice, taking a small step backward. Zack's eyes narrowed slightly. "Leaving so soon?" The jeweller looked between them. "You two know each other?" "Briefly," Zack said smoothly. "The boy has a habit of misunderstanding business." This was a mistake. A step back brought him closer to the door. Zack's smile didn't reach his eyes as he walked toward Tom. In one smooth motion, a knife appeared in his hand, small and sharp. The jeweller gasped. Zack lunged. Tom tried to dodge to the side. He watched in horror as the tip came toward his face. His heart gave a violent kick against his ribs, and the ring in his hand answered. Heat flared in his palm. Tom hissed and dropped instinctively. The knife sliced through empty air. Zack, having lunged with force and expecting resistance, overbalanced. His boot slipped on the polished floor where Tom had been standing. His momentum carried him forward. He collided with the counter edge, swore loudly, and stumbled sideways into a display stand. Chains and rings clattered to the floor. Tom followed Zack's movements in disbelief, still clutching the burning ring. Zack tried to regain footing, but the scattered jewelry underfoot betrayed him. He slipped again, crashing shoulder first into the shop door. The door burst open under his weight. He tumbled out onto the cobbled street, drawing startled cries from passers-by. For a second, Zack lay stunned. Then he scrambled to his feet, knife gone, eyes wild. He locked eyes with Tom through the doorway, then he ran. Vanished into the market crowd. Silence filled the shop. The jeweller stood frozen behind the counter, chest rising rapidly. Tom remained kneeling, breathing hard. The ring still burned in his palm. He slowly loosened his grip. The heat faded almost instantly. No scorch marks. No glow. Just gold. "What in the jeweller began. Tom slowly stood. "You all right?" the jeweller asked, stepping around the counter carefully. "I think so." The older man glanced toward the street, then back at Tom. "He's been pushing his luck. But never with a blade. Not here." Tom swallowed. "You moved quickly," the jeweller observed. "Saved us both trouble." Tom didn't know what to say. He hadn't moved quickly. He had moved late. The ring had burned, and somehow, in that moment of shock, he had dropped at precisely the right angle. If he had remained standing, he pushed the thought away. The jeweller bent to collect scattered pieces. "Thank you," he said quietly. Tom examined his hand again. The skin was slightly red, but not blistered. Why are you here? The jeweler asked, straightening slowly. Tom's mind scrambled for an answer. He could not show the ring now, not after what had just happened. He stammered. I was just looking. For what? The jeweler raised an eyebrow. Tom's gaze drifted briefly to the display case of delicate necklaces and rings with small colored stones. A gull, he blurted. The jeweler blinked. Tom's face flushed. I mean, I wanted to buy something. The older man's expression softened slightly. But I don't have enough coin. The jeweler studied him for a moment. You're the stable boy from Hadrick's yard, aren't you? Tom hesitated, then nodded. The jeweler sighed. You did me a service today. If you ever do decide to buy something, come back. I'll see you treated fairly. Tom swallowed. Thank you. He backed toward the door. Be careful, the jeweler added. Zach won't forget that tumble. Tom stepped outside. He stood there for a long moment, heart pounding, hands still wrapped tightly around the ring. It had grown hot. Hot enough to change everything. Was it coincidence? He opened his hand again. The ring seemed unchanged. He stared at it. He had come to sell it. To rid himself of the burden. Instead, it helped him, maybe saved his life. Blackmore's guards searched for it. The fancy knight wanted the ring desperately. Tom slipped it carefully into his pocket. He would not sell it. Not to Zach. Not to the jeweler. Not to anyone. He made his way back toward the stable. He passed through the market without stopping, past the alley where he had met Zach days before. He did not look around. He kept walking. Tom glanced down at his empty palm. No heat remained, no burn marks. Tom lay awake in the hay that night. Below, a horse shifted its weight, iron shoe scraping faintly against stone. The sounds that usually soothed him only sharpened his wakefulness. He held the ring in his hand again. The gold band rested in his fingers, cool again. He replayed the moment over and over. Zach's knife flashing. The air tightening. The sudden searing heat. He lifted it toward the faint moonlight slipping through the loft window. The crest gleamed softly. The rearing stag looked almost alive in the shifting light, antlers thrown back, the thorn circle surrounding it. It wasn't a simple ring. Not just gold. Tom shifted onto his side, propping himself up on one elbow. Magic, the word slipped unbidden into his thoughts. He almost laughed at himself. Magic was something traveling storytellers spoke of, not things that turned up in alleyways beside dead nobles. And yet he rubbed his thumb slowly over the stag's antlers. If it was magic, then what kind? He turned the ring over, examining the inside of the band. Nothing. Had the noble in Blackmore known what it could do? Had he been killed for the ring's power? Was the man searching Greyhaven aware of its nature? If so, then the danger was greater than Tom had imagined. Would the ring work differently while worn? He hesitated. Slowly, he slipped it onto his right hand. It fit. Tom stared at it. Wasn't it too large before? He turned his hand, watching the gold catch the moonlight. The ring did not react. There was no glow, no warmth. He flexed his fingers, still nothing.